What if the dream classic car you just bought, delivered by a big name dealership, promised to be rust-free and fully inspected, turned out to be a rolling death trap? We're talking hidden rust, dangerous welds, and safety issues so severe a wheel literally snapped off on the road. After 23 years of running a classic car restoration shop, I've seen this play out more times than I like to admit. And today, I'm going to show you one of the worst. Stick around and I'll walk you through this car and expose everything the seller hid from the buyer. So I'm going to interview the customer, I'm going to show you a lot of the things that were fixed and walk you through everything that's been so frustrating for this guy. 3 years and $50,000 later, he's finally on the road. It's been ridiculous. We're talking a wheel that flew off the car. We're talking hidden rust where the engine had to come out in order to fix the firewall. Later, the engine had to come out again because the engine blew a head gasket because the head bolts were stripped. Suspension that's about to rip out because the welds are so crappy. A drag car with no frame connectors. A drag car with no horsepower. Issues after issues after issues. Another crazy issue with this Nova was the engine. The thing's a drag car basically. Looked like it was an awesome car when he bought it, but clearly somebody scabbed it together. The guy put some old big block he had laying around in there. Whoever put the heads on totally missed a major step. Right here, if you check it out, well, first off, the engine's out, right? Because the engine blew up. We wound up buying a whole nother engine. So what they missed was when they put the heads on, they didn't realize that they had a stripped bolt in the block. So when you go to torque down the heads nice and tight, you should be able to tighten them to 60 or 70 foot-pounds, 80 or 90 probably on a big block, and it didn't snug down. So they stuck a bunch of gasket sealer in the hole, put the head on, and ultimately, after about, I don't know, 20 or 30 drives, it blew a head gasket, got water on top of the piston, wound up hydrolocking, and bent the rod. So completely smoked his motor because some genius decided that just putting a head bolt on with silicone sealer was good enough. Another issue on this poor Nova was the exhaust system. Completely cobbled together. When you buy a car like this and you drop 50, 60, maybe closer to 100 grand on a car, you expect maybe the seller, the inspector, somebody's gonna tell you what's up, but apparently they don't notice it, or they don't tell you, or they don't care. On this thing, the exhaust is completely cut up and cobbled together to get around the power steering. That was completely restricting the flow. Also didn't look nice at all. Additionally, why do we have an exhaust pipe that protrudes into the header by like 3 or 4 inches? That's completely blocking airflow. That is not good for flow. And anybody could have noticed this. Exhaust leak here, exhaust leak here. We've got exhaust leaks here, obviously leaking. And most importantly, seriously people, when it says flow, can you make sure the flow goes the proper direction of the exhaust so it flows towards the tailpipe? It just amazes me time and time again what you get when you spend good money on a car. People just don't seem to tell you what you need to know. So you need to know for yourself. This is exactly why I made my buyer's toolkit, so you can take the power back. You know how to look at things and understand what you're looking at, so you don't get stuck buying something that's going to cost you thousands and thousands of dollars extra because you just didn't know. So since buying the car, my man's had to dump a ton of money into it, doing things he did not expect. I know we talked about a bunch of it. I'm going to show you what's been done. So in the back, the whole rear quarter panels weren't even tied in, so all of that stuff had to get welded in and completed, structurally tied in the back, so we actually have a little integrity. The bumper's actually solid, the rear's actually solid. Over here we have these little tiny drag race brakes, which were great for a quarter mile at a time. You do a couple stops in town and the brakes were overheating and starting to squeak and causing a bunch of issues. So that got upgraded to nice new Wilwood brakes. All the rear shocks had to be rebuilt because they were failing. As you walk up here, he had all the 4-link brackets and everything all welded up and repaired, because these were the pictures that you saw earlier where the whole suspension was just barely welded on and ready to break off. So that's all welded up nice. You can see all new flanges on the rear end where everything's been welded up. So now this car is strong like it should be. Speaking of strong, now we've got frame connectors. I don't know how you have a tubbed race car, so to speak, that doesn't have frame connectors. So now that's all tied in together. All the rust and floor issues have been corrected and everything's welded together and seam sealed nice, so it's nice and strong. Got a nice new exhaust system on here, so it flows well. Got a full 3-inch kit with a H-pipe on here. Also in the photos earlier, one of the things wrong with this car was they had welded the cross member in. I don't know why people do that. We had that on that Eleanor as well. How are you supposed to service the transmission? Now it's got a custom built cross member, so that's removable. Moving forward, we've got new headers. Lines are secured safely. Still gonna do an inspection cover here to cover up the torque converter. That's next. That and a nice billet pan on here, and we'll be done underneath. Keep coming forward and you'll see nice new headers because the other headers were crammed up against the steering box. So we took advantage of that and at least got a nice set of headers to harvest the horsepower of the new engine as well. Up front, new steering components, tubular control arms, heavy duty front sway bar, got rid of the stock disc brakes that were on here and upgraded to a Willwood brake, QA1 coilovers, kind of the whole setup. So when you're dropping this kind of money on a car, you're expecting you're gonna get some good components. He didn't. You're expecting you're gonna get some quality workmanship. He didn't. You expect you might get a car that performs well. He didn't. So make sure when you're looking at a car, you buy the right car, you understand what you're getting into, and you're set for the expenses that might come later. So that way you know what your real budget is. A lot of times guys are gonna go in and buy a car and not understand exactly what it might take to get it drivable and usable on a regular basis or to get what they wanted out of the car. It's situations like this. Buyers getting stuck with rusted frames, hidden damage, and thousands of dollars in surprise repairs that drove me to create the Classic Car Buyer's Toolkit. This is the exact system I wish every customer had before pulling the trigger on a car that looked good but had real problems. The toolkit gives you a step-by-step plan to inspect any classic car, understand what you're seeing, and know what it'll cost to fix, so you can negotiate with confidence and walk away when it's not worth it. Don't guess. Don't buy blind. Scan the QR code or click the link below to learn more. Get the guide, protect yourself before you spend a dime. Whether you're going to be able to go look at the car yourself or you have to pay a third-party appraiser to go inspect the car for you, this toolkit's really going to help you. It's going to allow you to understand their findings or what you see, and it'll help you from getting stuck in a situation that happened right here. So finally, after fixing everything else, we were able to do what the guys wanted to do from day one, which is a better engine. But no sense doing a better engine until you have all the safety and everything else fixed first. Finally, after the last engine blew, we're able to upgrade to a 502 engine from Blueprint Racing Engines. It's got aluminum heads, roller cam, and dynoed at 612 horsepower. So this thing's finally gonna have a little giddy up, finally gonna have the fun factor, stick you in a seat kind of power that he can actually enjoy like he wanted on this car. So you got that engine in there. We talked about tubular control arms, upgraded the Willwood master cylinder, got the brakes working. And if you saw the photos earlier in the video sequence, you notice the whole firewall had to be completely redone. So all that rust has been repaired and everything's good to go. He's finally got a car that he's gonna be able to romp on. So there's so much to talk about on this Nova. Instead of me just telling you about it, I figured we'd actually have the customer, the actual owner of the car, my man Will, come in and tell us some of his horror stories. If you don't mind, I wrote down a couple questions to ask you. I know you got plenty to say, so let's have at it.
It's been quite the story.
Oh my God. So yeah, so start off. What did you know about the car before you bought it? And what did the ad say, you know, the dealership, how did they represent it? How much was it? What did you think you were going to get?
Well, I've been following this car company for quite a while, this custom used car seller for a while, and knew I wanted to do something good for myself for my 50th birthday. The way it was represented and what I thought I was getting, I'm a happy camper until I took possession. And when I took possession of it, I was very pleased when I first saw it, and it was everything it looked like on the video. I get it home, and the keys are stuck in the ignition. I can't get the ignition out. And
right off the trailer?
Right off the trailer. When I purchased it, the car was supposed to be ready to go. A month after purchasing, the car hadn't shown up, no call from the seller. I reach out to them, get a hold of them. They say, oh, there was some faulty wiring on the car. We're rewiring the whole entire car for you.
This is after you paid for it?
This is after I bought it.
But before they shipped it?
But before they shipped it. And when I purchased it, they said the car was perfect and ready to go. and then all of a sudden there's all these problems with it when it's come time for delivery. So 1 month goes by, no phone call, no response. Another month goes by, now I'm calling them. The owner would never respond to me. From after purchase period on, I just wouldn't get no attention.
And they're halfway across the country, right? So
they are. I bought this not too far from Chicago, not too far from Illinois, not too far from Missouri. Kind of right there. There's a lot of good cars Midwest out there. So.
First drive out, key gets stuck in the ignition. You had to change the column immediately, right?
Yeah, second day.
So that second day.
Yep.
And then what happened? What was next?
Well, I'm excited. We get the column in. I go pick it up. We go down 18 miles away, and the front tire shears off the car. All the studs gone. Tire destroys the left side of the car. So 18 miles.
That's when you first called me because you asked if we could fix the body on it, right? And I gave you a referral. I think that's when we first talked. What else was wrong with this thing? Like, so dude, you got the key was stuck in ignition.
Yep.
The wheel fell off.
So at this point from purchase, I'm $45,000 over my purchase. Everything on the vehicle
right now?
As of right now, and I still haven't paid you for this go around.
So you're $100,000 in a $60,000 car.
Yep. It is now safe. We had the whole frame done, all the welding, the body, the stereo's been replaced in it because it was all faulty. Everything that was beautiful about the car was done 100% faulty.
Yeah, you showed me pictures of all the suspension, like the 4-link welds were super duper shoddy, right? And
all
like
popcorn were surface welds
weren't tied in properly. I don't think it even had frame connectors in any of the photos I saw. Like, I don't know how you're gonna have tires that wide in a big block and not twisted without frame connectors.
Yeah, I mean, everywhere you look around as you go through, you can see what the intention was, but the people just didn't know what they were doing. The execution was pathetic.
And there was rust also, like I remember the firewall and all that.
Yep, and that's another thing he boasts about. The car has zero rust. I never went looking for the rust, but with all the mishaps on the car and having to take the motor out and the front clip off, we found rust all over. So that was another thing that they were extremely dishonest about.
It's crazy. So this is a frustrating one. How duped did you feel? Like, okay, so I just dropped not my life savings, but all my cash that I've been stacking up, buying myself something nice for my birthday. Like, how were you? Tell me how that felt. I mean, could you afford that? You know, to get kicked in the crotch like that? I mean,
no. I'm a construction guy. I can't, I saved up for years to be able to buy that. It took me a lot. It took a long time. And feeling duped-wise, all I can say is there's a good thing. There's this amount of distance between that shop and me. I'm beyond jaded, sour, angry, hurt, frustrated. I mean, the emotion, it runs. And I want to share with everybody to do your due diligence. And I'll put this on I'll take fault on the behalf of I didn't jump myself on a plane. I didn't fly out there. I didn't do my due diligence and crawl the car. And I think the company that I deal with, they kind of rely on that. I think this is a normal thing.
They think you won't go look at it?
Correct.
Yeah. They think you're buying their name, and you think you're getting a nice car.
Yeah.
And in your case, was all but the truth.
All but the truth. And I even went out of my way to contact an attorney in the area, and this company is extremely known for doing this to people who purchase their cars out of state.
Wow. Okay.
So and I'm sure by my story out there, I'm sure there's a few people out there that you know exactly who it is that I'm talking about and what's going on, and you went through the same thing. So I'm sure you can share the emotion and the loss.
Yeah, if any of you guys have had stories like this, I would love it if you guys chime in the comments and let us know, what bad experiences you've had, or honestly, if you've had a good experience, because there's a lot of good car dealers out there. I'm not saying they're all bad, but like as a shop owner, I've had my shop for 23 years now, and I see this type of stuff like more often than I like to admit. You know what I mean? Like, people come in, they just bought something, from an auction or from a car lot or whatever, and they bring it in, and then I go underneath it, and I'm like, you need this, and that's not safe. And they're mixed emotions. They're like, thanks, man, I'm glad you showed me that, but like, I don't really have another 20 grand to throw at the car right now, so, which is tough, because I always tell people, buy the most car you can afford, right? Like you did. You're like, okay, I got 60. I'm gonna get a bad boy with that, and you think you're gonna get the best car you can by doing that, but then when you get duped, then what, right? So now you're upside down and sideways.
Yeah.
And out of time, like how long? Like you bought this car like years ago now?
Yeah, I bought it for my 50th birthday. On my 50th birthday, I bought it, and in 3 months, I'll be 53. I've driven the car less than 100 miles in 3 years. It's been in shop to shop to shop to shop. So,
And you've had drama with shops too.
yeah, I've sent it to quite a few shops in Sacramento, and I've been duped by them as well. If you're willing to spend the money on the car, put it in the man's hand that's going to take care of your money. The care that these shops give aren't like what you get at Gearhead Garage, period. They just don't care. They crawl around your car. You know, there's a $20,000 paint job on that, and the guy's leaning on it with his belt buckle on. You know, just that's what you get in these shops around in Sacramento. And that's why I'm so apt to bring it to you, and I keep bringing it back to you since we've done it, is because I trust in his men. I trust in the fact that you're going to take care of covering everything, due diligence, protecting your customers.
Well, you're spending good money, and you know, we're not perfect, but we try harder than anyone, and we care. And you know, you notice we're treated like it's ours. You know what I mean? So, and I know it's your baby, so when it's here, it's ours.
Yeah.
I appreciate you taking the time, man, to kind of
that.
share your experience. I'm gonna guess, would you ever buy a car without going and looking at it, or if I happen to have a checklist and a whole class you could take, would you do that before you bought a car?
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
It'd be worth it, right? It would have saved me
$40,000. That class, that cost me $1,000 class.
Right.
That saved me $39,000.
Oh my God. Well, hop in and let's see it. Enjoy your baby.
Okay, and so I can give you kind of quick rundown too. So from this point on, all the suspension has been changed, the motor's been changed, the interior has been changed, the rear end has been changed, the brakes have been changed, the exhaust has changed, the headliner's changed. So there's not much left of the original vehicle anymore.
This is my car. Oh my God. Well, it is sexy. It's about as sexy as you get. So I see why you fell in love.
All right.
Don't let your dream ride become your worst nightmare. Click the QR or link below for more information on my invaluable toolkit that will walk you through steps and understanding what you're looking at so you don't buy a car unsuspectingly like this poor guy did.